I was a little bit late.
Yeah, Saurabh, no problem. We are live, so you can mute yourself.
Okay, okay.
Very good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible. You can give me a quick yes or no on chat, followed by my message. All right. So I hope I'm audible. Once again, thank you all for joining. I am looking forward to a wonderful session with all of you. Our speaker is also ready. We will begin shortly. We're just waiting for a few more of the audience to join us so that we can go ahead. All right. Once again, very good afternoon to one and all present here. So we are good to go. We expect a few more of them to join us, but we will anyway go ahead. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank everyone for joining us for today's webinar organized by Web Solutions. I'd also like to thank our chief speaker, Mr. Akela A.S. Prakasha Rao, for joining us today on yet another webinar. We're absolutely glad to have you here with us on the session today, sir. I'm sure the session would be helpful for the audience hearing directly from you. Looking forward to a wonderful session with all of you. Before we head into today's topic, I would actually like to start off with a small introduction about the company that I represent. Before I head forward, I am Siddharth. I'm Siddharth Nandakumar, and I am the webinar moderator for today. So I will be running the session with Mr. Akela as well. So I'd like to give a small briefing about the company before we head forward. Web Solutions, or WEP, is a 20-year-old company as of today. Web was initially known as Wipro e-Peripherals, which was part of Wipro itself. We were the peripherals division of Wipro, basically. In 2000, we became an independent entity. We have come a long way from the peripherals offering itself. We have multiple solution offerings as of today. We have managed print services, digital transformation solutions, and thirdly, we have intelligent office automation solutions. Now, you must be wondering what exactly are these three things and what we have on offer. I will explain a little more in depth about the offerings in the next few coming slides. Once again, dear all, I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm clear. You can give me a quick yes or no, and I can go forward. Okay, thank you, Mr. Prashar. Okay, thanks. Okay. As you can see, we have the various solution offerings. Now, rest aside this, we also have the retail solutions, which is not there on this slide. We basically offer billing printers for Kirana stores and departmental stores. And we have close to 2 lakh customers pan India on that end. Now, this is the corporate end, management services, digital transformation solutions, which is web, GST, and TMS. These are two different solutions which I will explain. And thirdly, we have intelligent office automation solutions. Moving on. So here you can see a little more in depth what we have on offer. Let me start off with MPS, that is Managed Print Services. Here we actually offer printing services to close to 600 plus customers. The business here is such that we deal with printing hardware based on a customer's requirement, and they would be charged per print. Aside this, we offer printers on rental basis, and we also offer asset management. Rest aside, we obviously handle pan-India end-to-end service and support as well. This is what we do with web management services. Secondly, we have the intelligent office automation solutions. We are the authorized distributor alongside Ricoh Japan to sell Ricoh products in the country. We have a wide range of latest multifunction printers on offer for enterprises, and we also handle the delivery and after-sales support for the same. Now, coming to the digital transformation solution side, that is serial number 3 and 4. First off being GST, which all of you are obviously aware of. We have an all-in-one solution for your filing, reconciliation, and all end-to-end GST related activities. So on this platform, we have different modules that is built for e-way bill automation. We have a module separately for e-invoicing as well. And we handle most ERP integrations, SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, and we also take up custom. Now, aside all this, we have a standalone managed GST filing offering as well, wherein we collect your data, we prepare it, we validate it, and then we give it to you for filing. So this is on the GST end. The next product, that is DMS. Now, this is actually a workflow automation and business process automation solution that we have on offer. We offer tailored custom solutions with the help of two concepts mainly, that is low-code development platform and workflow automation, as I mentioned. Now, on top of this, we have solutions built for various industry-related processes such as employee records management, candidate onboarding. We also have an end-to-end solution for procurement, that is P2P, for most industries. And we have another solution, that is management of change for pharma and chemical industries. Please note, this is a solution that we can completely build for any customer based on their custom requirements. So this is all there is on the introductory end. These are some of our clients. Moving on. Now, I will take about 1.5 minutes on this end. Now, as I explained, obviously, we will not be able to show a demo because today we are spotlighting Mr. Akela Prakasha Rao for the webinar itself. So I would like to launch a poll to quickly understand if any of our attendees today would be interested in a free demo of a GST solution. So I hope all of you are seeing this on your screen. Please note, this is a free demo itself. We will obviously not be charging on this end. So those of you who already have a platform or who are exploring solutions at the moment, please enter your inputs on this. And if any of you are interested in the DMS platform, please let us know on chat. Our team will definitely reach out to you in the next few days. Okay, I see Mr. Srisanti not able to hear or see. Please, yeah, like Mr. Raj said, please try logging out and. Okay, Mr. Natarajan noted. We will reach out to you post the webinar. Thank you. Wonderful. So I'm ending the poll in the next 5 seconds. Once again, thank you all for joining. I would also like to mention that post this is Mr. Akela's introduction itself. And we would also be taking up queries, your doubts based on the budget session that went. So please use the Q&A tab or the chat to put down your questions as the presentation goes ahead. Okay, I have ended the poll. Let us go ahead. Thank you. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our chief guest today. Mr. Akela Prakasha Rao is an independent indirect tax advocate. He graduated in 1989 from Birla Institute of Technology and Science, BITS Pilani, that is, in electricals and electronics engineering. He is also a gold medal holder who completed LLB from the Andhra University in the year 2001. Mr. Prakasha Rao is a certified fraud examiner as well, but not currently active at the moment. He worked in the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, CBIC, from 1994 to 2008. He's also worked for BSR & Co., KPMG, Bangalore from 2008 to 13. His major stints were with Toyota Kirloskar Motor Private Limited, Bidadi, from February 2013 to November 2016. His next stint was with Biocon Limited from November 2016 to June 2021. He is also a member of indirect tax committees of various trade bodies like BCCI, CII, FICCI, etc. He is also an active person who writes articles in TIOL, Tax Sutra, on various tax issues as well. He is the speaker and a panelist on various forums on indirect tax matters as well. Mr. Prakasha Rao has more than 27 years of experience in the field of indirect taxes with exposure in government, consultancy, and industries like auto and pharma. He has hands-on experience in GST, customs, FTP, SEC, central and state excise, service tax, VAT, CST, entry tax, bonded warehouse, EOU, and so on. Currently practicing as the indirect tax advocate, assisting clients on all aspects of indirect taxes at all levels. I take great pleasure in introducing Mr. Akela Prakasha Rao. I'm sure the audience is looking forward to directly hearing from you, sir.
Good afternoon to all the participants here. I think after the compliance calendar of the 10th, whatever the GSTR ones you have to file under, that you are here now to hear us out on the budget presentations. So this session agenda will be that first I will be dealing with the GST, then the second one will be the customs, and the third will be the SEZ and central excise related. Then I'll be happy to answer any of your questions on any indirect tax matters, whether in relation to the budget or outside the budget also, not an issue. So before starting on the GST reforms, let me just explain you one aspect, that whatever the GST is in the concurrent list. So the central government unilaterally cannot make any laws and all. So whatever is the amendments that they have proposed in the CGST and the other allied acts of the GST, now please bear in mind that this is the central government's part, that they are doing their duty. Now all the states have to again promulgate the same laws in their respective states, and then they have to get it ratified. After that, all the rules will be announced. Then only we will get the clarity. Otherwise, that yes, certain reforms that are amendments may give rise to certain kind of doubts that how exactly this is going to happen. At this point of time, if you ask me like what will be the amendment and how we can visualize it, or what are the changes that I need to do at my firm's level and all, then your guess will be as good as mine. So we should not be going into those details and all. So kindly bear with me by keeping this in mind. So the important thing is, one more time, the input tax credit restrictions were added, that they now say that if there is any fault on the part of your supplier in failing to pay the duty, or failing to pay the file the return, or if there is any difference between your 2B and 3B more than the prescribed limit, because the government is going to now get powers to prescribe a certain limit, that beyond which if the difference is more, that we should not be taking credit and all, and any excess credit availed by your supplier. And if there is any kind of a default in your supplier's end on the payments, for all those faults of the supplier, the recipient will not be eligible to take input credit. So how exactly this is going to withstand the test of law in the courts, that is something which we need to see in the due course of time. But at this point of a time, the central government is proposing that this kind of a restriction can also be there in availing the input tax credit. Then for many of the compliances like rectification of the returns, availing the input credit and issuance of the credit note and other things, currently that we are in a regime wherein the 30th September happens to be the deadline. But now that they have given us additional time till 30th of November. And then registration cancellation has become a big issue nowadays. So now the government has legitimized whatever is the actions that they will be taking it, by saying that the registration can be cancelled in various circumstances that they said. So it is going to be an inclusive thing. So for non-filing of returns also, and the duration can be 1 month also. Currently that for 6 months, if somebody doesn't file his return, then the registration can be cancelled. But now the government is not going to wait for 6 months. So they can do it at any point of a time by prescribing the duration for different class of SSEs. So one must be aware of it. Can we go to the next slide, please?
All right. So, sir, before we head to the next slide, I would like to launch a poll if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope all of you are seeing this on your screen. So based on the presentation on this slide, do you think with these measures, the ITC flow will be better in the future? Let us know your thoughts. I will leave this on for the next 45 seconds. before we head to the next slide. Mr. Prakash Rao, I hope you are able to see the inputs as well.
Yeah, but surprisingly, many people are having the confidence that with this kind of restrictions being put in place, also the ITC flow will be better in future. A very positive note from the people who have attended this session today. Really heartening to see. Maybe the government would have been happy to see this kind of a reaction from the SSCs.
Right. Okay, great. I will end the poll and I will just share the results for the audience as well. Audience, I hope you're seeing this. So most of them do think that it will be better in the future.
But outside, we are hearing everywhere that with this kind of additional restrictions and all, that ITC is going to be questioned, and then there will be a lot of issues and all. Somehow that the poll results are saying the other way around. Good.
Right. All right.
Let's
So I will
move forward.
stop sharing and yeah, we will move to the next slide.
Mr. Natarajan Rajaraman has raised his hands that we will attend to his questions at the end of the session. Kindly bear with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, there is a restriction now that if you don't file the GST, if you want to file the GSTR 3B for the current month, then you should have filed the GSTR 1. And for filing the GSTR 1 for the current month, you should have filed the GSTR 3B of the previous month. So the link has been established that unless the GSTR 1 is in place, the 3B cannot be filed by you. And for failing to file the return, then your registration can be questioned. So please bear in mind that the due dates are going to be much more important nowadays, and that you have to comply with the requirement. And the government is also saying that the two-way communication which has been proposed in the GST when it was about to be launched, and immediately after the launch also, that you have to file the GSTR 1, then 2, then you have to file the 3, and then it is going to be the GSTR 9 annual return. But now that the two-way communication has been done away with because the government is not able to roll out these returns, and they are not able to cope up with the portal entries and all that. Now that they have come out with some alternative option, GSTR 1, 2B, 3B, and 9. But this is also a kind of a two-way communication. But in the budget note, wherever you see, the government is saying that they have put an end to the two-way communication, and in the interest of ease of doing business. What is exactly the ease of doing business other than renaming the returns? We are yet to understand. So we have to wait for the modalities to be announced. And earlier that there was an option for input tax credit to be taken on a provisional basis, wherein that the government has given certain kind of a margins of 20%, 10%, 5% over and above what is being shown in your 2B and all. But from January 1st, that they have discontinued this practice, and they have made it into the law also that no availment of ITC on provisional basis. So any ITC which you want to avoid should be flowing from 2B, of course, subject to the other restrictions which we have discussed. And then one very relief measure that the government has announced is that for availing and utilizing, mind you, the word used is availing and utilizing erroneous credit, the interest payable will be 18% and not 24% as is being done till now. So anybody who has paid this 24% interest in the past are entitled for filing a refund, and how much time it will take and all is left to your fate. But certainly the option now is that because it is a retrospective effect from 1st of July 2017, so one can take advantage of it. Next slide, please. And now there is an option given to transfer the amounts, balances from the electronic cash ledger. Mind you, it is electronic cash ledger only between two registered distinct persons of the same PAN number. So if you are having two different registrations from two different states or in the same state between an SEZ and the DTA unit in the same state also, it will be under the same PAN. So between these two registrations, between these two distinct persons, the electronic cash ledger balances can be transferred. Mind you, it is not the credit ledger balances, but only the cash ledger balances which can be transferred. And then provision has been made to prescribe conditions for utilization of the ITC. You might have heard that there is a condition that in certain classes of SSCs that they cannot, they are invariably, they have to pay 1% of tax in cash. So now the government can prescribe conditions for utilization of the ITC. So it may not be restricted to that 99%, it may go down also. That unless they prescribe the modalities and all by way of notifications and all, we have to wait and watch. And then provision is made to adjust the refund payable towards the outstanding liability, which of course is a very favorite subject of the SGST authorities during their VAT regime, wherein that they link all the payments to be made in the form of refunds to the SSCs to adjust it to the previous liabilities and all that. And now that has been made into the law. So the CGST authorities may also insist this kind of a thing that any refunds payable will be adjusted towards the liability. And this is made applicable in case of all refunds, including cash refund, refund on zero rated supplies, inverted duty refunds also. And what I mean to say the cash refund is whenever you want to transfer the cash ledger balances between two distinct persons of the same PAN number, it will be deemed as cash refund only, and even that transfer will be restricted if you have got any outstanding liability to be payable in a particular state. And the tax payment can be done on ad hoc basis also, subject to conditions which are to be prescribed. Now, if you want to make any kind of a tax payment, there are only two options for you to do it, either in the form of 3B, while filing your 3B return, you can discharge your tax obligation, or otherwise that you have to file a separate challan DRC03, and through which that you can make the payment. But now the government is coming out with an option that they can come, inspect your premises, and if they determine any kind of a tax liability against you, then they may ask you to do an ad hoc payment. And that provision has been now made into the law. And then grant of alcoholic liquor licenses against the consideration in the form of license fee has been declared as neither goods nor services. And this has been implemented after the implementation of the GST. Now, because of the controversies that are there and the various cases being litigated, now they have made it clear that effective 1/7/2017, this is neither goods nor services. But however, if anybody has paid any taxes towards this before the amendment, then they stand to, they will not be getting any kind of a refund. That has also been made into the law. Next slide, please. Now we are moving on to the another important area wherein lot many amendments were made. More than 500 line items of the tariffs were also amended. So my request is that anybody who is dealing with these customs related notifications or the customs related works like imports and exports and may have to look at their HSN classifications and the relevant notifications for them. However, certain other important amendments which are made as a consequence of the judicial pronouncement is what is being now discussed here. The important case which has hogged the limelight in the last year happens to be the Supreme Court's decision in the matter of Canon, wherein the DRI officers were declared to be not being proper officers for issuance of a show cause notice. So this has led to a lot of writs being filed across all the high courts for nullifying the notices issued by the DRI. But however, the government has intervened into the whole thing now that they have amended the definition of the proper officer, and all such officers of DRI, audit, appeals, and the investigation informations were declared to be the proper officers, and declaration of this proper officer's power has now been given not only to the board, but even to the principal commissioner of the customs at the field level. And another important change, what they have done, this is also a consequence of the Canon decision by the Supreme Court only, that whenever there is a reassessment or reinvestigation or a subsequent audit where the original assessments have concluded, but subsequently again the matter is going to be relooked by the department, then what they are saying is that the officer who is going to do the reassessment or a re-audit or re-investigation into the matter has to prepare his observations, and then he has to send them to the original authority who originally has decided this matter, and he is the proper officer for deciding such issues when the government is having a relook into them. This means to say that once the matter has been settled by an officer, then subsequently it has been picked up for having a revisit of it, then the other set of officers are not going to look at it in a different fashion. And they cannot say that no, that officer might have got satisfied with whatever submissions you have made, but I am going to look at it in a fresh manner, and you have to again tell me what has happened and I will decide the matter. It cannot be the case. So the relook or reinvestigation or re-audit is going to go back to the original authority who has already dealt with this matter, and he only will be deciding it. I think this is a very welcome measure by the government. And then powers were given to nominate proper officers on various criteria like industry specific or goods specific, or considering the nature of offences. The government is now getting power by this amendment to nominate the proper officers at various levels. And then they have also introduced a saving clause for all actions done prior to the enactment of this finance bill, because in this finance bill only they have come out with the definitions for the proper officer and then nominating the proper officers on various criteria and all such things. So whatever is the actions that were taken in the past, which are now under question at various judicial forums, if the litigation is left to continue, then the SSCs may come up with a kind of a plea saying that the then point of a time, whatever is the rule that is prevailing will hold good for me. Hence, since the proper office, DRI was not declared as a proper officer, hence my case, the notice has been issued by the DRI, hence it is void ab initio. Such kind of arguments can come. So in order to give an answer to such kind of things, now that they have brought in this saving clause, but certain legal luminaries are having a view that this is not going to save the government, but this has to be tested in the court of law. So let us see. And powers are also given to impose conditions in the case of undervaluation of goods. So far, that in a third party scenario, when there is an undervaluation, yes, the government will initiate an investigation, and then they may subject it to a kind of an assessment wherein that the authorities may question the importers regarding the undervaluation and others. But normally what happens in a related party transaction only, currently the SVB proceedings are happening. But now with this amendment, what is going to happen, even in the case of unrelated party also, you can expect SVB kind of investigations to commence. So this is one important amendment which we need to be careful about. Siddharth, I think that you want to introduce one more query.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll launch the poll based on this. Okay. So audience, I hope you are seeing this on your screen, whether the amendment in customs of proper officer definition will address the pending issues in various forums, or will it reopen the issues? We'd like to know what you think. Okay. Once again, I'd like to mention that you can use the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen, where you can put down your questions. We will actually take it up, or you can simply use the chat to put some questions on that. So we will actually be taking up all the queries, whether it is presentation or any doubts that you have, towards the end of the session. We have a separate 10-15 minutes for that. All right, so this actually looks like a very neutral sort of input. We have more or less close numbers on the three options.
But if the government looks at this kind of a poll results, then they will certainly be happy, because whatever is the amendments that they have brought in are going to put an end to the previous litigation, because not sure is a case where that you can give the benefit to both the parties. but certainly the government's version appears to be having majority overall. Good. If the controversies come to an end, this is what the industry wants, because the industrialists should concentrate more on the manufacturing and the sales thereof, but not to be bogged down by the tax matters and all that. So if the government is able to achieve such a kind of a goal, it is really laudable. I think we can close the poll.
Yeah. All right. So I will move to the next slide.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think I've moved to the next slide.
Yeah, there's one other important thing, that advanced ruling on the customs, that they have now given a time period for it. I do not know that what exactly has the background for this kind of a time limit being given to that any advance ruling is going to have a validity of 3 years. And if the same set of conditions continue and there is no change in the law, then every 3 years, I think that the SSC has to go back to the advance ruling authority and seek renewal of the ruling given to him. If there are any change in facts, definitely the advance ruling which is given in the past is going to be null and void. But in all other cases, I think this is going to create trouble in the form of getting it renewed every 3 years. So we are not able to get the clue that why at all the government has come out with this kind of a time frame for it. So we will see. And then import-export data publishing, now that they have made it a punishable crime. So many unscrupulous elements are making use of the import-export data, which is a very sensitive information for the SSCs, and they are publishing it in all the forums. So that has now become a punishable offense, which is a good measure. But of course, the fallout of it is that whenever somebody is doing a transfer pricing study, or then when you have to furnish a comparable data before the customs authorities for getting clearance of your own goods, then in such a scenario, you will not be having access to the data, because it is no more going to be published by the other agencies other than the government. So you have to solely rely on the Directorate of Valuation, who keeps the import-export data for the government. And then many duty rates were rationalized, and they were aligned with the new HSN, Harmonized System of Numbering, which was introduced from 1st of January 2022. Many of you may be knowing it. The customs HSN has been amended effective 1st of January 2022 in order to bring in lot many changes in tune with the new technologies and all that. Hence, the duty rates were also rationalized in line with these changes in the HSN, and many expired and rescinded notifications are also omitted. But of course, that this appears to be a very peculiar act by the board, because never in the past any expired or rescinded notification was sought to be omitted explicitly. But now the government has undertaken this kind of a thing in the customs only, but they have not resorted to this in the past for the central excise or the service tax, or for that matter, even in the GST also. So some surprising thing that they have done it. So but they have taken this task and they have omitted these modifications. And wherever the tariff entries are having unconditional tax rates prescribed, all such unconditional tax rates now got moved into the first schedule of the customs tariff, which is going to be implemented from 1st of May 2022. Till that point of a time, while filing the bill of entry, you may need to mention the relevant notification number. But from 1st of May 2022, you will be saved from the hassles of referring to that notification, because it automatically picks up from the first schedule to the Customs Tariff Act. Can we move to the next slide, please? And the project imports and the capital goods import duties were increased. Please note that the import duty rates were increased to encourage the domestic procurement in line with the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Made in India initiatives by the government. And you may be aware that even there is a discussion going on that to close the EPCG henceforth. export promotion of capital goods, because EPCG is not in compliant with the WTO regulations. And moreover, that under the EPCG, the domestic manufacturers tend to import the goods from outside India. Thereby, the domestic industry is suffering. Hence, the government doesn't want to encourage such capital goods procurement under the import route. Hence, they have increased the project imports and the capital goods import duties. And whosoever is using the IGCR 2017 procedures and all, there are some amendments which are in line with the ease of doing business. And for many notifications that they have prescribed the sunset clauses, so they have also given a staggered tax rates also. So over a period of time, those entries will cease to appear with those concessions and all that. So, and exemption from payment of various cesses were also announced in respect of certain entries, which you can see. Next slide, please. Yeah, and one important announcement which the government has made with reference to the SEZ Act is that the entire SEZ Act is going to be replaced with a new legislation, is the word that they have used. Whether they are going to come out with any new act of SEZ Act 2022 or in the SEZ Act 2005 itself, that they are going to bring in some changes. A lot of discussions have happened, and due to the pandemic, particularly the IT sector has learned a lesson that managing this costly space in the SEZ is not going to be a commercially viable option for them. So many of them are asking their employees to work from home. Hence, the huge spaces in the SEZ are being kept vacant. Hence, they want to exit from the SEZ scheme in order to reduce their rental liabilities and all that. So because of that reason, the government is coming out with a new SEZ Act, which may facilitate the DTA sales, and then even DTAs also can set up their manufacturing units or the trading units inside the SEZ. So how exactly the form is going to be, that we have to wait and watch, because this new replacement is going to be effective from 1st of October 2022. And certain central excise rates for unblended petroleum and all that they have prescribed, and the MRP levy under the excise has been clarified, which I am not going into the detail because not many of the people may be interested in such things. So I think with this, I conclude my brief on the important budget presentations only, because I am not touching each and every comma and full stop or class by class discussion. I have given an overview, because I want to hear more from your end and I want to take more questions to answer. Siddharth?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for the presentation, sir.
I think you must be having one more question for running the poll. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will launch it right now. Yeah. So based on this slide that was covered, I hope all of you are seeing this window on your screen. Will SEZ reforms revive the interest in future to go for SEZ? We'll leave this on for the next 1 minute. And we have received about 3 questions at the moment. 2 from Mr. CM Reddy, and there is 1 on the Q&A tab from Mr. Natarajan as well. So you can decide which one you would like to take up first, once this poll is done.
Yeah, to answer this question, that section 28 uses the phrase the proper officer, which clearly means only one officer as held by the Supreme Court. Not amending this phrase could lead to the courts in future litigation to hold that the flaw in the legislation pointed out by the Honorable Supreme Court has not been obliterated. But I would like to bring a Supreme Court decision wherein they say that singular includes plural also. Hence, I think that officer word includes officers. I don't think that there will be any kind of a litigation on this front. And the second question is, consequent to moving of the unconditional exemption to the Schedule 1 to CTA, availment of exemption would be compulsory. Of course, yes, because all these are unconditional exemptions. Even today also, when you are referring to that notification, that the unconditional exemption is going to be applicable. Of course, if you use the tariff rate without mentioning the notification number, then it is not going to be applicable. But I don't think that NSSC will be doing that kind of a exercise, because the unconditional exemptions are certainly having a concessional rate when compared to the tariff rate. Hence, I don't think that it is going to be any kind of an adversarial for the SSS. They have removed only the unconditional exemptions to say, Schedule 1, not the conditional ones.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Mr. CM Reddy.
Yes. I had already thanked it.
Okay. So just something that I would like to quickly share. This was the poll result that went in between. So again, we have most of them who think that yes, but the other half thinks.
But yes is not such a strong yes what the government has expected, because 44%, but 41% is still saying maybe.
Correct.
So I don't think that people really have got this clarity. Maybe that we need to wait for getting an affirmative answer from the audience.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I will stop sharing this, and so you can actually look at the questions on the Q&A tab. If you're
One
not
is
able
Natarajan Rajaraman. Due diligence of vendor and supplier is left to the buyers, which means government is in no way wish to take the responsibility for collection and receival of the goods and services is made accountable. This means we cannot even source any goods from MSME vendors and the new vendors. I think, maybe considering your difficulties, that I empathize with you, but it is not the case that MSMEs should be discriminated because that you are not able to get the credit from them. But what the government has also proposed is that they will come out with the rating mechanism. But somehow I do not know what is preventing them to announce the ratings, complaints ratings. If you heard, then the original GST design has got this complaints rating. So the minute you go to the portal and type the GSTN number of any of your vendor, immediately the complaints rating of that particular person will be visible. So you can take a judicious decision that if this guy is really compliant, then we can continue the business with them. And if the compliance rating is poor, then you can take a decision whether to continue or not. But unfortunately, somehow the government is not able to come out with these compliance ratings even today also. But there are some GSPs who are able to provide these compliance ratings. So how that they are giving this, though it is not backed up by the government and all, that in fact, that by using a logic that we also can make a judicious decisions about it. So maybe that is one way out to look at it. But certainly, this should not be seen as a discouragement to the MSME sector. And Balasubramaniam, that if SEZ is under questionable, then how about EOU units? Will it continue, or will there be any other scheme government is thinking about? See, the substitution for the EOU schemes has already been announced by the government, but not many people have really taken note of it. Now, the MOOWR rules, which the government has come out with, wherein that inbound manufacturing is being encouraged by the government, which is going to be a suitable substitute for the EOU units. Of course, that we will not say that every scheme is going to be 100% SSC friendly, that there will be issues. And to start with, yes, there are certain gray areas in the inbound manufacturing also, wherein all the benefits one enjoys in the EOU are readily available, but for the depreciation of the capital goods, which is a biggest point many industrialists are looking at, that the inbound manufacturing doesn't provide depreciation for the usage of the capital goods during their tenure of the manufacture. So that is one big negative which the government has to answer. Already representations have gone to them, but they are under consideration. And another point is that how to go about this input-output norms, SIAN norms. Now currently all the EOUs are going to the Ministry of Commerce to get their input-output norms ratified. And they are of the view that there will be technically qualified people to decide the input-output norms, and they are in a better position to appreciate the industry's concerns. But my answer is, now the input and output norms are going to be decided by your jurisdictional principal commissioner of customs. There is only one single person. If he is satisfied, then your norms are ratified. So I don't think that that will be really a big task for somebody to really look at inbound manufacturing. But of course, that I leave it entirely to the individual organizations to evaluate the various pros and cons. Everybody normally, like, the thinking will be that when I am comfortable with the way that I am functioning today, why at all that I have to look at a new scheme? So unless that there are real serious advantages, nobody wants to move away from their settled path. But the thing is that in the EOU, as you already might have noticed, that the capital goods credit cannot be got as a refund under the on payment of IGST under the claim of rebate. Such kind of a restrictions are there as per the rule 86. So many people may be aware of it. So better you take a conscious call after weighing all these options. Yeah. And V. Karthik, there is a question from him. Will the amendment of definition of a proper officer be challenged further under the customs? See, that's where even the poll is also giving a result that it may not be. But yes, there are some legal luminaries which are of the view that this can be still questioned and there can be still debate on it. We got to wait and see. And then Bhaskar Jagannathan, there is a question that ITC availed during the month of September 2019 for all the pending credits. Now the department is asking us to reverse the credit just because the September 3B is filed belatedly. Even though 16.1 to 16.4 non-absentee clause is there, still the department sent a notice in this regard. Yeah. See, when the return is so critical, I say that you should have filed it in time. But having delayed it, whatever the consequence for delayed filing of the return that you may be facing it, but certainly that they should not be denying the input credit which you have taken belatedly in the September return. But however, after seeing your notice and the way that it has come to you, that we can prepare a suitable reply. So you have a good case to fight, but the only thing is that you have to present it in such a manner that it is going to be working in your favor. Yeah? And then there is one question from Raj Bharat. I have registered GST and failed to file return for the past 6 months. Now I want to close my GST number without paying penalty and interest. See, without paying penalty and interest or without payment of a tax, I want to do certain transactions are not some things which anybody can advise. So the legal way of doing it is that during this period, if you have done any kind of a taxable supplies, you better pay the taxes with applicable penalty and interest. If you have not transacted any business, yes, you can go to the department and then request for closure of it. But however, for 6 months, if you have not done it, I think that you must have got a notice by now for cancellation of your registration. Please check your GST portal. And then there is a question from Mr. Anand Ram Shankar. Bill proposed an amendment of law to impose interest only for the cases where ITC is availed and utilized, as there is a condition to exhaust IGST balance first. Wherever IGST credit is availed, we would have utilized. Hence, in all cases where wrong ITC is availed on IGST, we may have to pay the interest also. What is your view? I don't think that I need to differ with you, because if you say that the IGST ITC availed by you is wrong in your hands, and you have already utilized it, maybe under compulsion, but whatever it is, but since the condition is fulfilled, having availed and utilized a wrong credit, so you have fulfilled all the conditions, and you are fit to levy the interest, the 18%, not 24%. In Balasubramaniam, will there be any update on RODTEP for EOU, and will this be applicable for MOOWR scheme also? Sir, RODTEP for EOUs is still under consideration by the government. They have not come out with any kind of a clarity on it. But as far as MOOWR scheme is concerned, it is eligible. That RODTEP, you can apply for it. It has already been answered by the board that for MOOWR scheme, RODTEP is eligible. Then Bhaskar Jagannathan's question, further to the above query, there is a time limit only for the credit availment and not for the credit utilization in 3B. Under this situation, we need to move further. See, credit never lapses. Hence, only for credit availment that there can be conditions. For credit utilization also, if you want the conditions, government will be happy to announce it. So let us not risk our lives by asking for it. I think I have answered. All the questions that I have received, I think I have answered it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You've answered all of it. There's one question on the chat actually from Mr. Saurabh.
Yeah. How the new tax provisions budget will be impact on MSMEs? I am not able to understand the question clearly. So if you can unmute Saurav, maybe that I will be able to understand from him like what exactly. Is there any fear to MSMEs to face the new provision rules of GST 22 rules? See, rules are not yet been notified. Hence, we can't make any hazardous guess. This is a statement I made before the presentation itself that whatever is the GST amendments which were proposed by the government, you need to wait for some more time because the same amendments are to be made in the respective SGST acts by all the states, and then rules are also to be notified. So to exactly know the intentions and the procedures which the government wants us to follow. So till that point of a time that we will not be knowing. Yes, MSMEs will always be having one problem that by stating that I am a small player, so all these complaints are going to be costly to me, is not going to absolve your responsibility. And if you fail to pay the taxes and file your returns, definitely your customer will be at a loss and he may not like to continue the business with you. So MSMEs on par with any big players have got the same bounded responsibility that you should collect the tax, you should remit the tax, and you should file your returns in time so that your customer is happy and you can continue in your business. Apart from that, I don't see any special threat being imposed in this budget.
All right. So we have a question from Mr. Mahesh Arya on the Q&A tab.
Mahesh Arya. Yeah, okay. We missed out on claiming the refund of ITC since July 2017. Is there any possibility of claiming from that date? Sir, see that when a right has been given to you, there will be a responsibility also cast on you. So if you want to claim your right, you should have fulfilled the responsibility also. So from July 2017, I don't think that you have a chance now because the time limit for filing the refund is 2 years from the date of the event. So for 2017, I'm sorry that you may not be able to claim it. Yeah, then there is another question from Balasubramaniam. Will there be any update on our? So this I have answered. I think that I have answered yes, all of them. Any more questions, sir?
So, sir, actually, if you remember, we had a few queries actually in the registration end itself. Based on the audience that we have here, if the personnel is there, we can actually take up that question if that's fine with you.
I see that the persons are there. That's the reason I did not go to that.
Yeah. So I will take up the question. Mr. Janardhan is actually here.
Yes.
He wants to know about the legal validity of Rule 10B of the CGST rules, Aadhaar authentication for refund claim by the company.
But what is the problem? It is actually as a measure of ease of doing business, the government is saying that with Aadhaar that you can authenticate yourself. And then the government also will be doubly sure that the person who is seeking the registration is available and identity is established. Is there any real concern for him that to comply with it? I'm not able to understand what is the intention that is it putting any kind of a additional burden on him? Siddharth, he is
Yeah,
available. If he wants
I-
to add anything to
yeah,
clarify this, then I'll be happy.
Sure. So, Mr. Janardhan, if you'd like to actually unmute and talk, we can allow you to do that. Would you like us to do that, sir? You can probably give us a yes or a no or chat, and I would be able to do that. Okay. So anyway, we will wait for a revert from him, sir. I've not got anything yet. Meantime, we can take up a few more questions.
I think he dropped out. He's not there. Yeah.
No, he's still here, but
Okay.
I don't think he's. Anyway, we can wait for that, sir. Not a problem. You can look at the Q&A tab. We have two more questions over there.
Yeah. I've got one more question from Ravindra Gajelli. Whether ITC to be reversed in case of loss of production? Yeah, when the raw material has been put to use and then there is a production loss, then to that extent that there is no requirement as such under the GST to pay for it. But the only thing that there is indirectly that they have imposed this condition on you that if any, see, when there is a loss of production, that the wastage is going to be discarded in somewhere or the other, right? So if it is going to be subjected to tax in the form of sale of waste to a scrap dealer or somebody, then you will be paying the GST and there is no requirement for you to reverse the ITC. But in all other cases, I think that you got to see that how you are going to account for this loss of production. Is it that it is an invisible loss? Like in industries which deal with liquids and all, there will be evaporation losses. So whether you need to pay on the evaporation losses, the answer is that there's no specific rule says that for the losses that you have to pay it. So, but in some cases, what happens that the entire production batch goes waste, and then you will be selling it as a waste and scrap. In all such cases, since there is a tax which is going to be suffered, though at a lower value, but there is no requirement for you to reverse the ITC on the raw materials and the consumables therein. So, in each case that we got to see it separately, and then only we can answer it. It is invisible loss as compared to the standard output. I don't think that you need to pay. If it is an invisible loss, as clarified by you, I don't think that there is any requirement for you to reverse it, because the tax levy is only on the act of supply, but not on the act of manufacture, wherein that your input output norms will be held against you and say that for these inputs that you should have got this much of an output, since you have underreported your output and all, pro rata that you reverse the input credit. No such kind of litigation will be there here. Yeah. We are applying for the AEO. I'm still not sure as an EOU unit, will this be useful? So definitely it is going to be useful, sir. That AEO is a kind of a felicitation measure for you, that if you are AEO 1, then you upgrade yourself to 2 and level 3, then you are going to be a privileged customer for the customs. And whenever you approach either the customs or the GST authorities, then you are going to have a dedicated officer to answer your queries, and then your applications and other things are going to be taken up on priority. Your refunds are going to be processed on priority, and then you have certain benefits like this. Whenever that you execute any bank guarantees and all, then you are entitled for a concessional rates and all that. So certainly it is going to be useful, irrespective of what is your status as a DTA or a merchant exporter or an EOU, or even for that matter ACHA. That AEO is something good that one should aim for, and then should upgrade to the level 3, subject to his other conditions and others. But certainly for an EOU unit, yes, AEO is going to be a useful thing. I think we have come to the end of the session, sir. It is 4:30.
Yeah.
So if you want to take any other questions, I'll be glad to answer it.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So I think we can give another 5 to 7 minutes,
Sure.
if that's okay with you.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Yeah, because
I'll be happy to take any number of questions, not an issue.
Understood.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking is if there is anyone who's interested to directly interact with Mr. Prakash Rao, we would be happy to do that as well. You only need to let us know in chat, or you can use the raise your hand option, and I will be able to give you the permission.
Raj Bharat is asking a question: how to close the GST number without paying interest and penalty? I have not filed for 6 months. See, again, I am telling the same thing that I have answered you already. During these 6 months, if you have already done any kind of taxable supplies, on that you cannot evade the interest and penalty. You have to pay. If you have not transacted any business, having taken the GST number, but have not done any activities, then automatically your GST number is going to be cancelled by the authorities. But without waiting for the authorities to initiate an action, you can go to the department and submit that you did not do it. And moreover, now that there is a facility for you to file nil returns by SMS. See, nil return can be filed by SMS. So you will not be taking more than 5 minutes for completing your 6 month returns. Why don't you take advantage of it and complete your return filing, and then done away with that? You can surrender your registration if you don't want to continue your business. Raj, I think that I have answered you. So please take a conscious call.
Yeah, Mr. Raj, I hope that answers your question.
Seshu Kumar Reddy, belated return beyond September will not defeat the very purpose of eligibility of credit. Belated return beyond September will not defeat the very purpose of eligibility. Sir, you might have seen many cases stating that availment of ITC is not as a matter of right. So you cannot say that you file your returns with a belated date and all that, and then you say that I will claim them. See, one thing is very clear, that if you have delayed in filing a return, whatever is the consequences, that you have to face it. But in that return, if you have claimed any kind of a credit which you missed out in the past and for which the time period is September, you should have, my caution is that you should have taken enough care to file it on time. But with the delay, that if you have taken it, yes, whatever is the ITC that you have availed it, it is not going to be questioned. But the only thing is that you have to give a proper justification in order to stake your claim for it. You are right. It will not defeat the very purpose of eligibility of the ITC, that I agree. But you have to be careful about it. Time limit under 16.4. Are you referring to the time limit under 16.4? Then yes, that the September return is the return, but the September return itself that you have filed it belatedly. So that is what is causing the trouble for you. So I think that I have answered your question.
Yeah, sir, we have a question from Mr. Raj again, and followed by Mr. Karthik as well.
Sure. Saurav is asking a question that RCM of prior periods 19, 20, 18, 19 being paid now with interest. Can we avail ITC based on self-invoice to be raised in today's date? The answer is yes, because RCM, whenever you make the payment of RCM, that is the time when you are eligible for the credit. Till you don't pay, then the credit is not going to be eligible to you. So even belatedly for the past periods when you are paying it today, and it goes without saying that you have to pay the interest, and when you are ready to pay the tax and the interest, only the tax part that you are entitled for a credit, because that the self-invoice is going to be dated today, and you are well within the time limit for availing the ITC. I don't think that there will be any doubt about it. You have not done any transaction, and I am about to do nil return. It is calculating 8,000 rupees as a late fee for April 21. Sir, if it is a nil return, I don't think that you will be having 8,000 rupees of late fee. So my request would be to approach the department and ask them to initiate the suo motu cancellation, is what is being suggested by Seshu Kumar Reddy, with whom that I concur. So better that you go and discuss with your jurisdictional officer that how best this can be answered, because when you have not transacted any business for 6 months, only for not filing the nil return, that you cannot end up paying 8,000 rupees as the late fee. So better that you approach your jurisdictional officers. And then there is a question with the new valuation principles under customs proposed. Any additional checks and balances in terms of documentation that may need to be borne in mind by the SSCs? Sir, simply that they told that the government is now getting the power to seek additional documentation or additional compliances for undervaluation cases. So unless they come out with the modalities by way of a notification, that we can't make any kind of an hazardous guess that what needs to be kept in mind. So I don't think that we will be able to answer this at this point of a time. We got to wait to see the final print of it. That is the only way that we can answer it. Yeah.
Right. It has actually been a wonderful session. It's really nice to see a lot of queries. So I think, if it's okay with you, sir, another 5 minutes, is that fine?
No, absolutely fine. I'll be happy to answer questions and all, and a live talk also is not a problem.
Right. Yeah. So I'd like to repeat the same point again. If anyone's interested to directly interact with our speaker, we will be able to unmute you.
There is one more question from Ravindra Gajali, that customers, that is distributors, are returning the damaged materials after 2-3 years without documents, and we are giving the credit notes without GST. So in this case, what is GST impact on both? You yourself are saying that it is coming without the GST. A couple of practical issues that I will tell before answering your question, that once you have billed to them and they have availed the credit and taken the goods into their stock, and they have kept it for 2-3 years, they are not able to make a sale, they are returning it to you, but there are no GST attached. So what you need to see is that when they are returning to you, are they reversing the input credit at their end? If they are not reversing the input credit, then it is going to be questioned. That is point number 1. Point number 2, when they are returning the goods, whether they are raising e-way bill. If they are raising the e-way bill, then what is the underlying document based on which the e-way bill is getting raised? Is it a simple delivery note? Then in that case, the goods will be treated as write-offs from the books. Hence, invariably, the ITC has to be reversed by them. If they have not followed it, definitely they are going to face the music during the GST audits in future. That is one point of it. The second one is monetarily, when you are compensating them by way of a commercial credit note without GST, then there is no GST impact on it, because that it is an independent transaction and it's outside the scope of GST. So the GST authorities are not going to question you about it. But certainly the question will be that how the distributor has treated these returns in his books. So is it the case that he has written off those things by reversing the tax paid thereon, or that simply that without doing that, he is returning it to you and getting the consideration paid? This needs to be looked at carefully. Otherwise, it may lead to a problem. Manoj Bhavsar, for claiming refund of unutilized ITC, what we have to do if RFD 02 not issued within 15 days after filing the application RFD 01? Refund of unutilized ITC means that you are going in for a refund of LUT refund or refund of unutilized ITC. I'm not able to understand, because refund comes only under this circumstances under the on export under LUT. If you are undertaking the exports under LUT, and if you have filed your refund claim, and if you are not issued within 15 days, then you have to approach your jurisdictional officer and Ask him that why the refund is not being processed. I hope that it is export under LUT, because there is no other option of claiming the unutilized ITC as a refund, because the ITC doesn't expire in your books, and if you are going concern that you can utilize it in future. So I suppose that though you have not made it very clear that this refund that you have filed is for exports under LUT. If not, then you can further give the clarity. Yeah, goods exported under bond is what I am referring to. If that is the case, then please approach your jurisdictional officer to do the needful, sir.
All right. We're almost coming to the end of the session, although we have extended with the questions. I'd like to mention that if there are any further questions, you can actually mail it to us. We will be happy to actually connect you with Mr. Prakasha Rao himself. You will be able to actually respond on mail. So that can also be done. And I don't think we have anyone who wants to directly interact. I would like to repeat that one last time if there's anyone who would want to do that.
Some more questions have come now.
Yeah, you can answer them.
Yeah. So Natarajan Ekambram, we are a partnership firm and the partner's vehicle has been utilized for providing the service to the customers, and the partner have not raised any invoice during FY 2021. Can we do so now? The question is not clear, sir, because that that you have used the partner's vehicle for providing service to the customers, but you want to raise the invoice for this rendering this partner's vehicle to your service. Is that what your question is? Or that you did not raise the invoice for the goods that were transitioned using this vehicle? That is not clear here. So if you can give clarity, maybe that I would be able to answer this question better for you. Saurav is asking a question. In Chennai now, refund claims being assigned to any GST office within the state instead of jurisdictional office. How the practice in other states and how CBSE administratively right in doing so? Sir, I think this is peculiar to Chennai that we are hearing for the first time from your end only. But no such kind of a faceless assessment concept which has come into the GST, wherein that the authorities have got the power to assign the refunds to whomsoever they wanted. So this is something really new. So maybe that you need to take it up with the higher ups at Chennai only. But certainly we take note of it, and then we will see that what is the practice across other states, because I have not come across this peculiar custom now being followed. I think PPT availability is prerogative of web, so they can answer it to you.
Yeah. So we will actually be sending out a reach out mailer. So based on who would want it, we can send it. That's not a problem. We can share it to you. And sir, Mr. Anandram would like to interact with you, so I will allow him to talk. Okay.
Yeah, he can. But meanwhile, that company raised the invoice on the end user, but the partners have raised their invoice in the company's name, as the partners are having GST. So you mean to say the partner is giving you an invoice for leasing of his vehicle for the company's purpose? If that is the case, and such an invoice was not raised during 2021, better late than never. That let them raise the invoice now, But yes, for the services that the invoice should have been raised within the timelines prescribed, so there will be a penalty. Better to take it. Yeah, you can unmute Anandram.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Anandram, you should be able to talk now. Mr. Anandram, it says you are actually on. You're not on mute. You have actually unmuted.
Yeah. You should be able to talk.
Yeah. He is actually on the talking list itself. I have unmuted. Okay. Just 1 minute. Let me just try. Still nothing, sir?
I don't know whether he is talking, but because the signal here also is not showing him.
Okay, just 1 minute. Let me just try. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I think. Can you try now, sir? Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Anandram.
Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate my question, which I asked previously. See, now this interest provision has changed to levy interest only where it is taken, it is availed and utilized. So in all the cases where, there is an order of utilization of credit, no, in the when we utilize the credit. So first we will be exhausting IGST always. So even the CGST SG credit which you have taken also, we will be always keeping in our books unless we have complete utilization. But in the order of utilization, we always be utilizing the IGST. So is it not? I mean, the purpose of doing this amendment, I guess, will fail. I mean,
no.
That is
you are fulfilling all the conditions for levy of interest on you because you have availed a credit, which you know it is a wrong credit. But whatever may be the circumstances for utilizing such a credit, that you have utilized it. So utilizing a wrong credit, all the conditions are fulfilled that you are liable for interest. You cannot allege that there is a bounded obligation on me to pay IGST prior to utilizing CGST and SGST. See, what you should be more aware of is whether the credit in your hands is right or not for you to avail it. See, there is nothing called that you take a credit and you park it aside. That is not permissible for you because there is an order of utilization which is already mandated under the law. So, having known the game rules, that you cannot say that because of this rule only, though I have hit the ball outside the ground, but you are still not saying it is a 6. You may be having an intention, but the game rules says that if you have hit it outside, then you are out only, then you have to go out. You cannot say that you cannot claim 6 for it, right? The game rules say that there is an order of priority for utilization, IGST, CGST, and SGST. That's right. So when you are following that order, if you know that it is a wrong credit, the best thing that you should do is that you should not be taking the credit. See, in the past, how you used to do is that you will be taking the credit, parking it in the books, but not utilize it. But unfortunately, in the GST regime, no, the problem is you can't park the credit, that too when it is a IGST credit. So the lesson that we need to know is not to say that the rule is formed like this, but it is not helpful for me. Rule is rule. The government has got every right to frame any rules. That too with retrospective effect also. Even if you get a judgment in your favor in the Supreme Court also, that they can overrule you and bring a retrospective legislation. If the rules of the game are such that the government is going to be the winner all the time, we should learn our lessons by not taking the credit in the first place. If you are having any iota of a doubt, don't take the credit. Yes, I empathize with you that beyond certain point of a time that there is a restriction that you will never be able to take the credit, but that is the game rule. You can't help it.
That is true, sir. I mean, what I mean to
Yes,
say is,
yes, yes, yes.
see, the SGST credit is not that much risky. IGST credit is always be risky.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
because it is getting utilized first.
See, the order of priority is actually the risk priorities. Most riskier thing is to avail IGST credit.
IGST credit, yeah.
Yes. You're right.
Yeah.
There is one more question from Manoj Bhavsar. Applied for name change and adding additional place of business on GST portal. But as per the portal, it will take time of 15 days. Meanwhile, we can supply materials under the new name. See, when you have applied for name change, I hope that you have made the necessary changes in your PAN card, and that's how that you are going in for it. That is the deemed understanding by me, because without changing your name in the PAN, that you will not be able to make a change in your GST name. And adding additional place of business, yes, that since you have already given the application, if the portal says 15 days time and you are in a tearing hurry to supply the materials, my request would be just to give an intimation to the jurisdictional authorities that having submitted your application online, and since you thought that the application is in order, that you are going ahead and making supplies from the new place, because it is going to be additional place of business only, and the GST number remains the same, but the name is also changing. So for that, I think that you have a backup that the PAN has already changed with the new name, and that is what that you are seeking to change in the GST also. If with these assumptions, I feel that you can go ahead, but to be on the safe side, my suggestion would be to file a letter with the jurisdictional authorities saying that you have sought the name change and the inclusion of additional place of business, but since there is an urgency for clearance of the goods, you are going ahead and making clearances using that GST number, because there is no change in the number. I think that you can go ahead.
Yeah. All right. I think, yes, sir. I think most of, in fact, all of it have been answered. And we've almost done another half an hour, in fact. So I believe we will obviously have a lot more questions. So what we can do is, any of them who have queries, right, we can actually send out a reach out mailer, and I will loop them with you, sir, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, perfectly fine for me. That I will be happy to take any further questions on this session or any other indirect tax matters also, and then we will give you suitable answers to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would like to mention once again that all of you will reach out, get a reach out mailer from my end. Those who are interested can please revert back to me, and I will loop you with Mr. Prakash. And on a side note, those of you who have actually shown interest for our GST and DMS platforms, we will reach out to you exclusively in the next 1 to 2 working days. So that part will be separately taken care of. Yeah, Mr. Prakash, would you like to add something?
Yeah. A big thanks for all those that who have taken time off from their busy schedules to attend this session and to make it really lively. So your questions are always welcome, because that will give us an opportunity also to think through and come up with the replies which are going to be acceptable to you as well as to the department also. So whatever little that we can give you in the form of a solution, that we always look forward. Hence, I look forward for many more such sessions in the future also, which WEP is going to put in future. So looking forward to interact with you in the same way in future also. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Big thank from my side.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your efforts and time, Mr. Prakash Rao. And I would also like to close by thanking. Yeah, I'd also like to close by thanking all the audience as well for keeping it very lively. So we will reach out to all of you. On the closing note, you will be actually redirected to a survey form on your browser. Please take about 10 seconds to fill that up. It will help us improve oncoming sessions. Thank you all. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend as well.